Whenever I have a meeting with a new client, one of my questions is always, do you have any dependents that depend on you? And so often they'll think of their kids, they'll think of a spouse and whatnot, and they forget about their parents sometimes. Unfortunately, that's the reality. We think our parents are always going to be around, they're always going to be okay, but seldom do we actually sit down and ask them what their retirement in their mind looks like. So one of the things I recommend doing is to have that conversation, find a good place, good time, and just say like, mom, dad, or whoever is your parent at that time, and just say, what does retirement look like to you? Where do you want to live? Like, do you want to live in this house still? What does that look like? And most importantly, are you ready? Do you have things set up? Because oftentimes they won't, and they're really excited that you have an interest in helping them with these very important decisions that can often be very overwhelming. This is a big one. If they're open to it, have an open conversation with their advisors. This will be their financial advisor, it could be their accountant or their CPA, could even be their estate planning attorney. And that's an important one. Make sure that your parents have a living trust or will, and more importantly, make sure it's also updated, because we also know about 25% of wills and trusts are actually outdated. And so, and more importantly, make sure it's signed, because we've also found many trusts that haven't been signed, and if it's not signed, then it's not legal. So with my parents, they have taught me so much through my years, and especially in the last few years, because my dad and my mom been married, I think, almost 50 years, and they've always been quite an active but very entertaining couple, meaning that, they bicker quite a lot, like a lot of couples do, and then, you just think of them as, well, they're still very young, and there's still plenty of years. But one day when they were out exercising, doing their daily walk at the park with their friends, my dad had a sudden accident and everything changed. And he was healthy and he was fit, and yet he had a fall, and that has changed his life completely upside down. Many weekends now are spent delivering groceries. I'm getting emails almost on a daily basis of different financial forms or legal forms that I need to look over, and not to mention all the times that my dad has had to go in and out of the hospital. And just like just 3 weeks ago, he had to go to ER, and he had a seizure. These things you don't think about, but you need to plan for, because these are things that are really unexpected. But unfortunately, the reality, as our parents get older, we need to know what's happening. Because if we don't have a plan in place, it will be determined one way or the other. And it could also mean depleting their finances or their retirement spending, in the case of my parents, in a matter of months sometimes. And here's one that I learned that I think is very important: making sure that on their main checking account, that they put you on there as someone who is able to sign or make a financial decision in case they aren't able to. Because sometimes what I found and experienced going through something so challenging, my mom was just crushed. She couldn't even think properly. She was so sad. And that was an opportunity for me to come in and step in, and I had all her financial documents because I helped her, help my parents along the way. So you don't think about that until you need to, but make sure you know where your parents' documents are. Make sure that living trust has been signed, and make sure the healthcare directive is as they thought about. Have that open conversation while they're good and healthy, because you might be like me one day and have to make that call. And if you know their intentions and their wills, then you will be able to make a decision that is in their best interest.
Invest in you. Ready, set, grow. CNBC and Acorns.